Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another exciting episode of Trigger Warning Radio. I am your host, the Kaiju Conservative. Now, the other day on one of my videos, specifically, say that 3 times fast, it was the video about reporter Sam Husseini and the death of journalism and the rise of fake news. But I received a comment from one BitChute user, Lord Aaron. I have no idea how to pronounce that, so if you're listening, I apologize. I probably mangled that name, but he had a very interesting comment, and I'll just go ahead and read it for you. So he said, "I really hope I'm just blowing things out of proportion, but nowadays it looks like the modern left and mainstream media is actively trying to provoke a third world war just because they didn't get their way in an election. I hope I'm just full of shit, but the left's rhetoric is seriously going off the goddamn deep end." So that got me thinking, folks, and I hope that gets you thinking too. So it's an interesting comment, and it's an interesting observation, because it's one that I've made several times in both my writing and my podcasts. But it's something that bears thinking about. You know, is the rhetoric, is the increased level of insanity that we've seen since the Trump-Putin summit, is that leading towards a third world war, which would be a nuclear war in this case? Let's just call it what it is. Is the left pushing for a nuclear war? Is this something that's blown out of proportion? It's absolutely not blown out of proportion. You know, Lord Aaron, I'm sorry. I'm going to stop trying to say your name. I apologize again. But he's absolutely right, folks. And look at, you know, this has been something that the left has been advocating for ever since the 2016 election. And I do believe it's something that we would have gotten if Hillary Clinton had won. We would be at war with Russia right now because of the quote-unquote Russian hack that cost Hillary Clinton the election and led to the election of President Trump. So, but look at how they refer to that hack. You know, it's never just referred to as a hack. It's never just referred to as, you know, a cyber attack or just in general a hack on a server. No, it's been referred to almost exclusively in the mainstream media as an attack. You know, this isn't just a hack. It is an attack, and not just an attack, but it's an attack on democracy, on our very way of life. You know, Russia has not just hacked a server. They didn't just steal some emails, even though there's absolutely no evidence that we've seen that they did that. You know, they didn't just hack the election, again, even though there's no evidence that they actually did it, that I've seen at least. The only evidence that I've seen says that there were some Russian troll farms that were trolling some activist groups online and Twitter and buying some very ineffective Facebook ads. And in fact, everything that I've seen, at least in the mainstream media, says that no votes were changed and that the Russians' efforts did not have any effect on the election at all. But that's neither here nor there. You know, the left refers to the Russian hacking of the election as an absolute attack and assault on our democracy, on our way of life, and on everything that America stands for. Many, many times during the 2016 election, it was compared to September 11th. It's still being compared to September 11th, a terrorist attack that resulted in thousands of Americans dying in a horrible manner and launched 2 wars. And we're still in the war on terror because of that. That is what the Russian hack has been compared to. We've also seen the absolute insanity of the last couple of days. We've seen it being compared to the Holocaust. We've seen it being compared to Pearl Harbor, to Kristallnacht, to you know, take your pick, you know, horrible event X from history. That is what the Russian hack has been compared to. And it's very clear what the left wants when you look at this rhetoric, especially when they talk about punishing Russia for this hack. You know, they talk about punishing Russia in the most stringent manner possible. You know, sanctions are not enough for the left because Trump has slapped sanctions on Russia. And he slapped sanctions on the country as a whole. He slapped sanctions on specific Russians and specific Russian companies as a result of the investigation into the Russian meddling of the election. But that's not enough for the left. They want more. They wanted him to call out Putin to his face about the election hacking. They wanted him to walk into that meeting and let me just tell you what the left wanted in that meeting. They wanted Trump to walk into that meeting and they wanted Trump to shoot Putin in the head and spit on his corpse and say, "That's for our 2016 elections, bitch." And the fact that he didn't do that drove them absolutely insane. You know, they want the harshest punishment possible. So it is very clear that the left wants a nuclear war with Russia. They are not content with sanctions. They are not content with, with punishing the individuals involved. They want Russia to pay. And they want Russia to pay the ultimate price. Well, why is that? Why does the left want a nuclear war with Russia? You know, I said this in a previous video. It's not because of any sense of patriotism, or at least not as we would understand it, not as a normal American would understand patriotism. The left as a whole doesn't care about America. They don't give a crap about this country. They think this country is the most racist country on the planet. They think it's colonialist. They think it's imperialist, and they would be much happier if it just completely disappeared. So it's not because they care about this country. It's not because they want to prevent Russian hacking in the future. It is simply because Hillary Clinton lost the election. She was supposed to beat Trump. She was supposed to beat him in a landslide. There was no possible way that the country would elect a con man real estate developer as president of the United States. The most qualified candidate, the only choice possible, was Hillary Clinton. And the fact that that did not happen, that has stuck in the left's craw ever since the 2016 election, and they've zeroed in on Russia as the culprit because of this quote-unquote conspiracy that they've spun up where Russia hacked the election and influenced the election, again, even though there's absolutely zero evidence that any of that actually happened. And so considering all of that, what's going to happen if the left regains control? Let's say the unthinkable happens, and in 2020 we end up with a complete sweep by the Democrat Party. Let's say they win the House, they win the Senate, and they win the presidency. They are completely in control, just like they were during the Obama years. What would we see at that point? What would happen? We would see increasingly swift and harsh reprisals against Russia for the 2016 election hack. Remember, they want to punish Russia. They want to punish them for what they did because they cost Hillary the election. So in 2020, if the left gains control, they're going to enact said punishment because they cannot let that happen again. And that's how it'll be presented as well to the American people, to try and get the American people on their side. It's going to be presented as punishing Russia to the point where they won't even think about attacking us in that manner ever again. Of course, Russia will respond in kind. They will escalate these attacks, and it'll spiral out of control. You know, we will see if the left gains control in 2020, if we have a Democrat president and a Democrat Congress, we will see a war with Russia within the first term of whoever that Democrat president is going to be. And millions upon millions of people will die as a result. And that is not hyperbole, ladies and gentlemen. It has been gamed out extensively what will happen if there is a nuclear war with Russia. 1983, there was a war game that actually gamed out it was codenamed Proud Prophet. It was a NATO war game that basically simulated a limited nuclear first strike on Soviet military targets. So what happens in that case? Well, of course, Russia responds to it. They initiate a full-scale nuclear retaliation. The U.S. responds in kind, and per the estimates of Proud Prophet, 500 million people were dead at the end of this war, and European civilization was completely and utterly destroyed. In 2007, a report by the International Physicians for the Prevention of Nuclear War suggested that a limited nuclear exchange could lead to the deaths of over 1 billion people. Now, this would be a result of widespread climate disruption for the most part. And the U.S. National Academy of Sciences that same year also concluded that a large-scale nuclear war would directly lead to the deaths of up to 4 billion people. I've got the report right in front of me. I'll include the link in the description. If you don't believe me, it's down towards the bottom. Read it. It is not hyperbole to say that if the left starts a nuclear war with Russia, up to 4 billion people could potentially die. You know, this is a possibly world-ending catastrophe that the left is trying to push us towards, and it is all because one person lost an election. Think about that. And if that doesn't scare the absolute shit out of you, you have got a serious problem. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about all this. Do you think the left is pushing us towards nuclear war with Russia? Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know what you think. As always, if you liked what you heard, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Those both help me out quite a bit, and I will see you all next time.